Bocce 2007 back at you with another one. Now, here over at my page, we have supported Jonathan Majors literally from day one, from the night after he was initially accused. We provided a couple of videos, as you can see here. That very next, it was a Friday night when the incident happened, when he got arrested, and I guess in the early hours of Saturday morning, actually. And Saturday night, after I got done taking care of some business, I had my responsibilities on Saturday during the day. We dropped this video first, actually, and then we turned around the next day or two and dropped this, noting that he was likely falsely accused and arrested with no evidence. So, what do we have now is new information that's coming to light as Jonathan Majors has gone to trial. So let's get that on here the way we want it, and let's see what we have. So, for one, we have this article from CNN on a status hearing. Jonathan Majors appears in courts for domestic violence case that his attorney calls a witch hunt. This talks about a status hearing in May, and we're also going to find out about one from last week in mid-June, about I think June 22nd. But first of all, we'll just read a little bit here. During the morning status conference, the DA provided more information regarding an incident that took place on March 25th between Majors and a female accuser. Previously, the complaint stated that Majors has allegedly struck the woman in her face with an open hand, causing a laceration behind her ear. The complaint now states that the woman also sustained injuries to her arm and hand, that she was allegedly pushed into the side of the vehicle by Majors. He has denied the allegation. In a statement to CNN following the hearing, Major's attorney Priya Chaudhry accused prosecutors of racial bias in the case and reiterated that her team has provided investigators with video evidence that allegedly exonerates Majors. So this is going to be a major point into the case and what we're going to hear further. So let's take a look at this video provided by the Cosmic Wonder on his channel. And let's listen to a little bit. He's going to be reading from another article and give some more details.
Ms. Jabari claims that Mr. Majors assaulted her in a car in Chinatown around 12 a.m. on March 25, 2023, and during this incident, Mr. Majors broke her finger and lacerated her ear. She goes on to state, "We have proof that this is a complete lie." She says that they have defense eyewitness interviews, phone records, credit card statements, and hours of surveillance and police body camera video. And that is a lot. That really is a lot of evidence to have in favor of Jonathan Majors. And as I mentioned, we do have video footage of some of this evidence that we'll talk about in just a bit. The article goes on to state that Majors' lawyer Chaudhry alleged in the letter that this evidence suggested that Jabari injured herself some 7 hours after that midnight fight when Jabari took a fall while alone in Majors' penthouse apartment.
All right, so let's get to some of these facts that are at play here that are being
After drinking
discussed.
sleeping pills.
So what happened was he was in a cab with her, his white girlfriend, and this is how women set you up, and this is what you really risk with these snow bunnies for us brothers. But this is a problem for black men or any men with any color women to some degree, especially in today's day and age. That is a possibility that you might have to suffer. So they were in a cab. They get out of the cab and they're riding in the cab and have an argument. And according to even the cab driver, he never so much never so much as raised his voice. This is basically her yelling at him. He has them stop the cab. He gets out and she grabs him and pulls him back into the cab. I believe they might have some video of this, though it's not out yet. And I believe that the cab driver will testify to this. So after that happened, she went to a club without him. He sent her a text breaking up with her, and then other things transpire later on that night. But this is her after the encounter with Majors that we're about to look at here, so we can understand what happened versus her claiming to have been injured by Majors during this encounter, having been hit and her ear injured and her finger broken, which is the charges against him and the claim against him. We're going to see what happened right after that incident. Let me get a little bit further on. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Footage obtained by Jonathan Majors' team of Jabari in that nightclub minutes after the fight took place, and for hours she stays there with no apparent signs of being hurt whatsoever. In fact, the footage shows her using her right hand many times, walking up the stairs as we can see here, and then in some other footage, as you can see here, she goes up to the DJ and he grabs her by the hand and she has no signs of being hurt. So video footage shows her completely fine partying immediately after this alleged assault. And then to top it all off, there is another witness, because eventually Majors did go home to his penthouse apartment, and apparently one of the doors inside his apartment was locked, so he called the handyman to open the bedroom door. Once he came in and opened the door, Majors and the handyman found Jabari half naked and passed out on the floor of a walk-in closet. And the
So he had already sent her a breakup text after the incident. He went on about his business. She went to the club, kicked it at the club for hours. All right. She apparently then must have had a key to his apartment, had ability to gain entry. After she left the club, even though he'd sent her a breakup text, she went back to his apartment. When he gets to his apartment, he has to call the maintenance man to come open up to get into some other room, I suppose, where she is already there by herself, already injured. He called the police and the ambulance for her. The police get there. They look around the apartment. They don't know who he is. They don't know he's an actor and millionaire. These white police, they just see a brother, and they decide that he must have beat up this precious snowflake, and you gotta bring charges. So they pressure her or whatever, convince her to lie against him. You know, this is almost like just another one of those situations. It's like an Emmett Till situation again. We're still having these 70s years later when something happens to a white woman or presumed to have happened to a white woman, and there's a black man in the vicinity. He must be guilty. Some Negro must pay. And so the police arrest him. But my understanding is that they took a lot of this evidence to the DA days after it happened. Yet and still, they continue to charge Majors. And here's another point of what happened after that.
Also, they say that police body camera surveillance footage does show when Jabari is alone with one officer, her looking down at her hand going, "What happened to my finger?" showing that that was the first time that she actually noticed her finger was hurt. And this was
So this all happened while, again, Majors was not even at the apartment. He wasn't with her, and she was not initially saying, I believe she said 19 times initially, she didn't know what happened to her until the police kept pressuring her or trying to convincing her to then accuse Majors. If you're still with us to this point, you definitely have to like this video up. Please hit the like button. Also consider subscribing to the video and hitting that bell so you can get the notifications. But definitely like this up so that this video will move through the algorithm. And back to the program. So 3 days ago, Majors, he filed a legal complaint against the ex-girlfriend who has accusing her of criminal acts. So let's see. The formal complaint that has been filed by the 33-year-old is against his ex, who's been identified as Grace Jabari. Per legal documents obtained by the insider, the Ant-Man and Wasp condominium star met with NYPD on June 21st and gave his account of what went down the night of the reported incident early on in the morning. Reported after he had a heated argument, the star grabbed Jabari and hand slapped her. That's the accusation against him. However, Majors is countering that by claiming that a drunk and hysterical Jabari slapped and snatched him as well as grabbed his face. These purported blows reportedly caused bleeding and pain for the actor. So again, he's accusing her that she was the actual assailant. Now let's see what the breaking news is today. That was 3 days ago, and here's what we have going on today.
Domestic violence and assault charge looming from March. We're breaking it all down. The latest development in Jonathan Majors' assault case. But first, if you could grab...
And this is coming to us from the Everything Always channel.
Representing Representatives for Majors have long maintained his innocence, and his lawyer, Priya Chaudhry, told Newsweek the actor was, quote, probably the victim here, with police at 2 NYPD precincts finding probable cause to arrest Grace Jabari. They go on to write, quote, Chaudhry said that Majors met with NYPD last week, quote, to present them with evidence of what really happened that night. And within hours of viewing the evidence and conducting their own thorough investigation, the New York Police Department found probable cause to arrest Grace Jabari for assaulting Jonathan Majors.
This is incredible. So the question I have is, why is he still charged? Are they still trying to maintain that he both assaulted her and she assaulted him as well? How do they maintain these two sets of charges? Now, obviously, it's the district attorney's office that sustains charges. The police can arrest based on probable cause, based on evidence that they find, but it's up to the district attorney to actually charge the case and to move forward with it. So, if it's established that she assaulted him, and also there's evidence has been presented to the DA that he wasn't even around when she got injured, that after their altercation, she was perfectly fine. We have video evidence of her being perfectly fine. We have her assumably on tape, on police body cam, saying 19 times she didn't know what happened to her when she was first asked. That Majors wasn't there when he came back home. She was in a room by herself, locked up in an apartment by herself. And he has a witness to that he came home and had to get the janitor to let him in, and that these accusations only came up after the police convinced her to make the accusations. And also, again, there's video evidence that she was not injured when he was last with her before, when they departed from each other. How is this man still charged? But this is what happens when we have a gynocentric society. Then, if, of course, you mix the racial issue in there, the racial aspect to it. But the gynocentric society determines that men are always wrong. If anything happens to a woman, it has to be a man's fault. And men are punished without any evidence, without any knowing anything. Believe her. That is the status of the legal system. Not innocent until proven guilty. Believe her no matter what. And that's been the mantra since Me Too took off. It was somewhat the unofficial mantra before then. And so now men are guilty and have to prove themselves innocent. And after they have destruction to their reputation, and they can't undestroy their reputation. There will always be people who think Jonathan Majors beats women, no matter how much evidence comes out and shows that it was all a lie. And this is what men have to suffer. And this is what we have to stand up against. But this is what we have to know we're up against and move accordingly, brothers. They're out here to get you, and everything is set against men. We're hoping that the brother Majors gets off, that he can get some lawsuits going against both the police, the DA's office, as well as this woman once he's able to completely exonerate himself. And he should definitely have everything restored to him that he has lost in these last few months. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Yabachi 2007. I'm out.